A lot of times we think of blessings when we get promoted, we have a baby, we move into a new house, and those are certainly blessings. But I've learned that, there are blessings that come from difficult times.
Wow.
Really, I've learned that you don't grow as much in the good times. You grow in the difficult times. I think of it like a seed. You can take a seed and have it on a shelf for all of its life, and it'll never become what it was created to be. But that seed has to be planted in the ground. It's got to be covered. It's in the dark. It's got to be covered. And you think if you're the seed, you think, man, I don't want to be in the ground. I don't want people walking on me. It's uncomfortable. It's dark. But that seed will never become. It'll never see the life that God put in it without going through that time where it can germinate, where it can grow. And I know we all have seeds of greatness on the inside, potential and gifts and ideas and creativity. But I think sometimes what discourages us is, wow, but it's a difficult time. It's not working out. My dream hasn't happened the way I thought. And in that darkness, we don't realize it's all a part of the process.
Wow.
We're about to germinate. We're about to grow. So the book is about keeping a good attitude and realizing even times we don't understand it, God is working behind the scenes. He's always, He's directing, He's orchestrating our steps. And I've learned in my own life, we say God's directing our steps. God doesn't always take us from A to B to C to D to E. It's not always in a perfect line. And I think of it even like a stepping stone. If you were going from here to 50 feet away, those stepping stones may be curved. There may be a point where you're going the wrong way. And if you're stopped on one of those stepping stones, you think, God, I'm supposed to be going that way, but I'm going that way. But you got to realize God's still directing your steps. It's just not be the way that you think. And so, again, the book is about, trusting God when life doesn't make sense. And just believing that even in the times that we're uncomfortable, the times that we don't like, that God is still in control, that He still knows how to get us to our destination. I think about Joseph, and then, Joseph, for 13 years, he had negative things happen to him. God gave him a dream, and I know we all have dreams, we have goals, and, God showed him how he would, be a leader, but, it didn't happen the way he thought. His brothers betrayed him, sold into slavery, falsely accused, put in prison for something he didn't do. You think about 13 years, God was directing his steps, but if you'd asked Joseph, he'd say, God, you're taking me the wrong way. You said I was going to do all these other things. Well, if you stay in faith, if you keep being faithful right where you are, keep being your best, trusting that God's in control, that even in those difficult times, not only are you growing, not only are you proving to God that you're able to handle where He's taking you, but God will get you to where you're supposed to be. I mean, God has the final say. People don't determine your destiny, God determines your destiny.
Come on now.
Promotion doesn't come from people, it comes from the Lord. I've learned in my own life, sometimes, Matt, we were talking earlier, or maybe last night about, without Judas, we wouldn't have salvation.
Wow.
In a sense, because Judas betrayals were a part of Jesus' destiny.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we think, God, I want my destiny, but I don't want the betrayal.
Yeah.
I don't want the people against me. I don't want this to happen. But, we'd love life to be all perfect and never challenges, but that's not what life is all about. In life we're going to have difficulties, but be of good cheer. Know that God is still on the throne. Be able to trust Him in the good times and trust Him in the difficult times. And I think, Matt, I look back over my own life and, blessed in the darkness, because it kind of sounds odd, not blessed in the darkness, but I think with the right attitude, it can be. And I'll finish with this illustration, Matt. When my father went to be with the Lord, I'd worked with him for 17 years. We were outside of Victoria and my kids. He was my best friend, traveled the world together. And when my dad suddenly had that heart attack in 1999, I thought that was the worst time of my life. And, in a sense, I still miss my dad, and with all respect to him, but here's what I wanted to say. What I thought would be the darkest time of my life, it launched me into one of the brightest times of my life. So it launched me into what I'm doing today. And so even though it was a dark time, I believe, again, if you'll stay in faith, that God will, something's being birthed in that time. There's going to be something that's going to blossom on the inside. And again, I said it earlier, but I think the reason we don't blossom, we don't see the good come out of the difficulty, is because we get bitter. And we say, God, why did it happen? And God, it's not fair. And God, and there are things we don't understand. I don't understand, people lose kids and, really hard stuff. But again, I really believe deep down in me and what the Scripture teaches, that if you'll just keep moving forward, God will not only give you grace, but somehow He'll give you beauty for those ashes. He'll bring you out better. You'll come out stronger. And you know, and a lot of these things that we go through, it's to prepare us for where we're going.
Yeah.
God's getting us, you know, you got to be able to handle the blessing that God's taken you to, the platform. And so I think a lot of these things are just tests. God's getting your spiritual muscles strong. He's getting you to where you can trust Him. So He'll bring you through through things, and you can look back and say, hey, God, you did it back then. It's no big deal. You can do it for me again.